this is Gabriel. I interrupt this evening with troubling news. A slave has escaped from Mobile, Alabama, heading towards the north surrounding states, New York and Washington, D.C. The slave was spotted around 5:56 this evening wearing a green sheet and a tie-dye scarf. If you have seen the slave, please contact authorities by 1-800 Fugitive Slave Act immediately. Take precaution. The Fugitive Slave Act was passed by Congress on September 18, 1850, as part of the Compromise of 1850 between Southern slaveholders and freed Northern soldiers. This is one of the most controversial elements of 1850 Compromise and heightened the Northern fears of slave power conspiracy. It was required that all escaped slaves were to be returned to their masters and officials and citizens of freed states. In this law, abolitionists nicknamed this the Bloodhound Law for the dogs that were used to hunt down runaway slaves. Hello? Excuse me, ma'am. We are with Channel 13 News, and we were wondering if we could interview you really quickly.
What for?
Have you seen a runaway slave, by the way? He was spotted.
The Fugitive Slave Act made anyone who attempted to help or aid a slave a criminal. Therefore, anyone involved told no one.
Now for the weather. Towards your east coast, you have large amounts of snow, especially located in Virginia and North Carolina, predominantly in the Triangle. Now over towards the west, we seem to be heading into a warming trend, especially between these two states. Nebraska and Kansas seem to become very heated in a couple of days. The Kansas-Nebraska Act of 1854 created the territories of Kansas and Nebraska, opening new lands for settlement, and had the effect of repealing the Missouri Compromise of 1820 by allowing white male settlers in those territories to determine, through popular sovereignty, whether they would allow slavery within the territory. The act was designed by Democrat Senator Stephen A. Douglas of Illinois. The initial purpose of the Kansas-Nebraska Act was to open up many thousands of new farms and make feasible a Midwest transcontinental railroad. It became a problem when popular sovereignty was written into the proposal so that the voters of the moment would decide whether slavery would be allowed or not. The result was that pro- and anti-slavery elements flooded into Kansas with the goal of voting slavery up or down, leading to Bleeding Kansas. And now for Did You Know? Major causes of conflict in 1850. Number 1. Slavery in territories from Mexico succession, mainly New Mexico and Utah. Number 2. California's statehood. Should the state become free or slave? This was a major issue. Number 3. Texas claims New Mexico, aka border dispute. This was a major conflict between Mexico and former Texas, arguing over who should have New Mexico. Number 4, slavery in Washington, D.C. This was the capital of the slave trade. This concludes the live news this evening. This is Gabriel. Please stay in tune for next week's news. Good night. Seen a runaway slave, by the way?
What do they look like?
Well, they're in... She was... can't breathe.
Oh.
She was spotted.
No, ma'am, I haven't seen anything like that.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Officials and citizens of freed states. free had to cooperate. Okay, wait. And that officials and citizens of free states had to cooperate. Cooperate. Had to cooperate. Had to cooperate. Cooperate. Had to cooperate. Had to cooperate. Had to cooperate.
Had to agree.
Had to agree.